Hi everybody, I want to read you a story. It's called Monsters, and it's written by Eric Dupuy and illustrated by Ariel Smith. I hope you enjoy it. On a fine summer day, Danielle went to play with some friends on the toys at the park. She played on the swings, teeter-totters, and rings until it began to get dark. And as each child sped to his supper and bed, little Brian called out to Danielle. She stopped on her way to hear what he might say, for he seemed to have something to tell. With a voice full of fright in the vanishing light, he said, "Tonight's the full moon. The monsters are here. They'll be gathering near and wandering out very soon. They'll be under your bed, in your closet," he said, "in your basement and out in your yard. Stay awake if you can." Then he turned and he ran, running home, running fast, running hard. "How strange," Danielle muttered. She shrugged and she shuddered. "I wonder if he can be right." And still she was pondering monsters out wandering as Mom tucked her in for the night. She lay in the gloom of the darkening room, clutching her big teddy bear. Then she lowered her head and peered under her bed and spoke to the hobgoblin there. "Oh, please, Mr. Hob," it was nearly a sob. "I've heard that the monsters are out. They're under my bed, that's what Brian said. Could you just have one look about?" Hobgoblin looked round. No monsters were found. "There's nothing like that," he reported. "If a monster came here, you'd have nothing to fear." "I'd gobble him up," Hob snorted. Danielle gave a smile, then after a while she tiptoed across the floor. With scarcely a sound, her fingers found and threw open the closet door. The troll in the closet was startled because it flew wide with a bit of a slam. He was eating a sandwich and sipping a can, which turned out to be root beer and ham. Troll let out a yelp. Then he said, "Can I help?" And Danielle said, "Please, could you look for monsters which might be inside here tonight? Would you search every cranny and nook?" The troll made a search. Then he leapt to his perch on the dresser and said, "As you see, no monsters in here. I've searched far and near, and the only one in here is me." "What would you do if a monster came to my closet tonight?" Danielle said. Troll said, "What a blessing. I'd stuff it with dressing and eat it with sourdough bread." So Danielle felt better. She put on a sweater and crept to the basement door. She opened it gently. She listened intently, then whistled and listened some more. The griffin, whose lair was under the stair, came out and said, "Hello, my dear." She said, "Is it true? I've come to ask you if the monsters are hiding down here." "Monsters, you say? Oh, I'm sure there's no way," said the griffin. "I'd know if there were." But he turned on the light just to prove he was right, and he had to look round to be sure. "There's nothing to fear, as I told you, my dear," said the griffin. He kissed her good night. "If a monster comes out, which I very much doubt, I'll swallow it up in one bite." He patted her head and he sent her to bed. But Danielle had one errand more. She took a flashlight to go out in the night and softly slipped out the back door. The dragon on guard in Danielle's backyard was eating fruit off of the trees. He swallowed some pears as she came down the stairs, and some cherries as Danielle said, "Please, would you be so kind as to see if you find any monsters who might be out back?" This made Dragon pause. He licked his jaws. He said, "Monsters? Now that's a fine snack." He looked to and fro, he peered high and low, he searched branches lower and upper. He said, "That's too bad. I would have been glad if a monster had dropped in for supper." "No monsters tonight. Oh, well, that's all right. I'll settle for apples." He sighed. "If a monster drops in," he said with a grin, "it will never reach the inside." So Danielle gave a yawn as she crossed the lawn, and she went up to bed for the night. "I've looked everywhere," she told Teddy Bear, "and there isn't a monster in sight." The end. Thanks for listening to Monsters. If you enjoyed it, please like this video, share it, and subscribe for more stories and fun. Monsters is also available now in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. We'd love for you to share it with someone who loves stories too, and tell us in the comments what's your favorite monster.